Good night, fellow punters. The clock on the wall says 8:32 on May Day 2023. This day, a long, long time ago, I started national school. That time, they'd always start a month before the school had finished just to get you geared up and settled in for when you start back in September. I remember the first day we started school, there was snow on the ground. It's many moons ago, different world now altogether. There was no such thing as Twitter or Snapchat or YouTube or mobile phones or colour television or nothing of that ink at all that time, but how the world has changed. Today we a so-so day, slightly in profit due to Latitude winning at 4-1. The main bet was Queen's Rock. It didn't run. Don't know what the excuse was for that. Watching the race, she probably have hosed up in it to see the horse that was first, second, and third. The other Queen left her form on the boat, or however she travelled. Strong enough in the market all day, particularly on the exchanges. Don't know what happened because Haggis has a great record when he brings them over to to Ireland, and he wouldn't have brought it over unless he thought it had a very good chance. So there must be a sort of valuable excuse. Whereas Tolstoy didn't like the ground at all, and the horse I mentioned at the very end of the video last night, History Bear, that actually won at 6-1 today. It was 10s this morning. If I knew that, who said you should sing that? Rod Stewart, was it? If I knew now what, if I knew what whatever it is, you know what I'm on about. I'd have put that in place. But anyway, I went for a few pints this evening. Woke up with a mucho hangover this morning and no porter the weekend. So I said if I have one tomorrow morning, I'll have a reason for it. So I only had 3. But it was well worth a visit to the tavern I did because I had a hell of a laugh. If you handpicked the crowd that was there, you couldn't get any better. Solid slagging and jokes aplenty. Some that could not be repeated even after the watershed, I'll tell you. But one that comes to mind is a fella, he dislocated his finger playing football. That doesn't seem to happen as much now. Maybe they're clever. Well, they wear gloves, a lot of them now. But he dislocated his finger and he went to the doctor. The doctor sent him on to the hospital to a specialist to put the finger back in, as you say. So he was roaring and shouting and everything when this was putting the finger back in. And he said, I cannot understand a young strong buck like you. He said that it's creating such a scene with all the noise and everything. He said, look at that woman over there. He said she's after having twins and there wasn't a word about her. And your man, as quick as lightning, says back to the doctor, aye, but did you try to put them back in again? So that was the vein of what was going on all evening. I might share another one throughout if I get a chance. Tomorrow, I've 2 on the flat and I've 2 over jumps. The flat, there's a listed fillies and mares race tomorrow in Nottingham, and if this was a handicap, the top weight would be still working out better. Race 106, Golden Lyra. Probably the horse Life of Dreams is rated 100, Buick and Appleby. £6 inferior on the ratings, but given £3, so £3 well in. Same thing applies to Gavin Crummel's horse Sunset Shiraz. That between the 3 of them it looks to be. But the ground is down to be soft, heavy in places. That shouldn't be a problem out of a See the Stars mare by Luke de Vega, who ran in France in its last outing. 10 furlongs, heavy ground. Looked to be under the cosh on the turn for home, but wanted every yard of the trip. It's in yellow towards the back as we join the race. On the turn for home.
Chased by La Fille de Sud
and
Saint-Romain. About to turn in. They have over 500 to go, and it is Couture who turns into the straight in front of Trey Queen. Now there are quite a few efforts coming. Daisy Maisie banging contention. Here's Rita Vere and Gerard Mosse in the green jacket as they head down to the last 300. Rita Vere, Couture, every chance for Trey Queen, and Golden Lyra with a big run, and it's Golden Lyra now hits the front with 200 to go. On delays giving chase, then Trey Queen down the centre. La Fille de Sud, Golden Lyra by around about 3 lengths. Queen Trezzy now moving into second. It's one for William Haggis. Golden Lyra is the winner. Queen Trezzy second place. La Fille de
won that by nearly 5 lengths. That was a listed race over for 3-year-olds on heavy ground. Now it had run as well. One run. It was in York. It finished 8th. But there's a lot of horses that just don't run well on the Knavesmire, and that was over 12 furlongs as well, and it was on good ground. And it was the last run of the year. No, it was the last run in England for the year. But I'd be hoping that would be able to do itself justice tomorrow, and well, we'll check the prices. They weren't in earlier before I went to town. 6-4, 13-8. The other one at Nottingham is a horse that the captain training this year. Well, the gelded it, Mutaany. And when I backed this, when I definitely thought it would win the day, it was 2-1 favourite there in Haydock last September. One of the days I was in Listowel, and there was a lot of money for it. Finished second. Won in Brighton on soft ground. Made hard work out, even though it was money on. But the horse that was second is raised a good few pounds higher now. That's it there in front in the Shadwell colours.
Followed by No Mars and Umming and Ahring, and Embassy Row is losing touch. It's Mutaany shaken up, and Danger Alert is sticking to the task in the green sleeves worn by Jack Mitchell as they run down to the final furlong. Mutaany just from Danger Alert, then Umming and Ahring now back in third place, 4 or 5 lengths away. Danger Alert is having another crack at Mutaany on the near side. They're locked together as they race up towards the line. Mutaany, Danger Alert near side. Mutaany just stretching his neck to win.
They kept it on board in their ownership. They didn't get rid of it. Sometimes they do if they don't think there's any chance of getting another win. It's rated 83. I think it could be better than that. For people that don't like betting on the nose, you could maybe do a double there between 9-4 and 13-8. Met a couple this evening where I was, and one of them is heading to Ballinrobe. I had one picked out earlier, but it's a bit iffy. I thought in the 6:45, the maiden hurl, Star Harbour for Aidan McGuinness. With the grounds drying out as yielding. This is rated 94 on the flat. We backed it a couple of times last year. We got place money out of it. Remember on 27th of August in the Curragh, it was 12-1 to 3rd to Federal. We were on it that day. But on good to yielding ground, the only time it ran on that sort of surface this year was in Leopardstown on the 6th of March. It was 3rd to Walhan. Then it ran in a handicap that Latham, that was in the Lincoln or the Cambridgeshire, the one that came over from England from Haggis's, and it was only beaten 2 3/4 lengths. And the last day the ground was against it, I thought, in Fairy House. But where are we here? No. This is it here, is it? Leopardstown.
Dairy Sandy Man, and then Manwall and Star Harbour and Johnny Cigar.
It's in fifth
Good run
place
for
there
final
now.
flight, and it's Walhan into the straight, a length in front of Quirk's Gate. I'm Fortunato around the outside, followed in by Aronsu Dairy, as this quartet tightens up, out a few lengths clear of Star Harbour, on the run towards the final flight, and jostling for position, Walhan, I am Fortunato, with delivering a run in between horses Aronsu Dairy, and then Quirk's Gate, who fades ahead of Star Harbour at the final flight, and Walhan is tackled by Aronsu Dairy as these two kick away from I am Fortunata. Walhan is finding plenty for pressure on the inside of Aronsu Dairy, and it's Walhan fighting off to make all in the opener. Aronsu Dairy, Star
Ran on well to be third there in that race. The better ground it ran better on it. 7-2, 3-1, 100-30. And then in the 748 in we have a horse that won first before, West Breeze, but I think it might need a bit of cut on the ground. Battle of Mirbat, first time in a handicap in Leopardstown, absolutely hosed up on the 6th of March, won by 8 lengths. It was up £12 for that. But then in Limerick, the last day, it ran against Queen Jane. Queen Jane was going well the last day in Punchestown when it fell at the last. This is Battle of Mirbat out in front.
As they continue towards the second last, Battle of Mirbat towards the left, Queen Jane to the right. Matty's Mountain in third as they jump to second last. Battle of Mirbat, Queen Jane challenging. They've gone away from Matty's Mountain back and forth. Misty Hollows, they head down to the final fence. Not much to choose between Queen Jane near side. On the inside is Battle of Mirbat. Queen Jane with the advantage and going on the run in. Queen Jane going away from Battle of Mirbat. They're clear of Misty Hollow. Down at the last, that'll be today.
There's one more in Ballinrobe tomorrow evening at a big enough price. I think it's 12-1. Chelsea's Friend. The better ground will suit this horse as well. It won over the track before for Jimmy Mangan. The long old spin from Connacht in Mallow in County Cork to Ballinrobe. It won nearly 2 years ago. But if you look back 2 runs back on good theatre ground at 3 Mile, second to the Corner House, and then to second in Punchestown to Rochestown off 91, put up a couple of pounds for that. It was a decent enough run at 12-1, paying 4 places there for people going to Ballinrobe. You get a quarter of the odds, 4 places there. It's a handicap hurl. Oh no, there must be only 15 runners, 18 declared to run. There'd be 3 reserves. Wouldn't that be it? That would make... Yeah, that's the reason. There's a big gamble on that Getaway. It was 18s and Getaway, what do you call it? Getaway Train. That was huge gamble the last day. So the most from a gambling yard, I think it opened up 18-1 and into went off 11-5 favourite. So the most think there's a race in that, but it hasn't showed on the track. We can only go what we can see on the track, not what it shows on the gallops. Another joke that comes to mind that was told this evening by a certain gentleman. He was saying that there was an old school teacher in the town that he was living in, and he had a cousin that used to come home from England every year, and she was very sophisticated and refined sort of one, and this fellow was as rough as a bear's hole. So she used to want to look at the farm animals. So she walked down the yard one day and she looked at the pigs and she looked at the sheep, and I said she seen this cow putting her head out of the byre over the half door, And she said, hasn't that cow a very sad face on her? Why would that be? And your man turned around just to piss her off, and he said, if you got your tits pulled twice a day and you only got the bull once a year, you'd have a long face on you too. Bash the bookies over and out.